There is a seed that costs under $1 and purifies water better than most commercial filters. No electricity, no chemicals, no replacement cartridges. Just crush the seeds, stir them into dirty water, and wait. Within 1 hour, the water transforms completely. Mud and sediment sink to the bottom. Bacteria die on contact. The water comes out cleaner than what many filters produce after multiple stages. This seed grows on a tree that thrives across Africa, Asia, and South America. Local communities have used it for thousands of years. Scientists at universities across the world have tested it under laboratory conditions and published peer-reviewed papers confirming what villagers already knew. It removes up to 99% of bacteria. It eliminates turbidity faster than chemical flocculants. It works in conditions where commercial filters fail completely. The World Health Organization has studied it extensively. UNICEF has funded projects distributing it. The United Nations called it one of the most promising natural water treatment solutions on the planet. Then something strange happened. Import restrictions appeared in multiple countries. Agricultural regulations made commercial distribution nearly impossible. The seed that purifies water for pennies cannot be easily purchased in nations where bottled water generates billions in annual revenue. They did not restrict it because it failed. They restricted it because it worked too well for too little money. This is the story of the Moringa seed, the most powerful natural water purifier ever discovered, and why a $35 billion industry hopes you never learn its name. Here's the thing about water purification that most people fundamentally misunderstand. The biggest challenge is not killing bacteria. Boiling does that. Chlorine does that. UV light does that. The real challenge in most contaminated water sources is turbidity. Mud, silt, clay particles, and organic matter remain suspended throughout the water, making it cloudy and brown. These particles are so small they pass through basic filters. They protect bacteria from chemical treatment. They shield parasites from UV exposure. Commercial water treatment plants spend millions on chemical flocculants that force these particles to clump together and sink: aluminum sulfate, ferric chloride, synthetic polymers with names most people cannot pronounce. These chemicals work, but they cost money, require precise dosing, and leave residues that raise health concerns over long-term consumption. My grandfather used to say, nature solved every problem before chemists learned to spell. He was talking about farming, but he understood something the water industry desperately hopes you forget. Stay with me, because what happens when moringa seeds contact dirty water is genuinely remarkable. The seeds contain proteins that carry a strong positive electrical charge. These proteins are called cationic polyelectrolytes. When you crush moringa seeds and add them to turbid water, the positively charged proteins immediately attract the negatively charged particles suspended throughout the water. Mud, clay, silt, bacteria, organic matter, everything carrying a negative charge gets pulled toward these seed proteins. The particles clump together into larger and larger masses called flocks. Within minutes, these flocks become heavy enough to sink. Within an hour, the water separates into two distinct layers: crystal. Clear water on top, compacted sediment on the bottom. Pour off the clear water and you have removed up to 99% of turbidity and bacteria without a single filter, without electricity, without any chemical that did not grow on a tree. Here's where the science becomes undeniable. In 1995, researchers at Leicester University in England published a landmark study in the journal Water Research. They tested Moringa oleifera seed extract against standard aluminum sulfate, the chemical used in water treatment plants worldwide. The results shocked the water treatment establishment. Moringa seeds matched the performance of aluminum sulfate in turbidity removal, but moringa produced significantly less sludge, worked across a wider range of water conditions, and left zero synthetic chemical residue. The lead researcher called it the most promising natural coagulant ever studied. The study was peer-reviewed, replicated by multiple institutions, and cited in over 500 subsequent papers. This was not folk medicine or wishful thinking. This was hard laboratory science, confirming what communities in Sudan, India, and Indonesia had practiced for centuries. But here's what nobody tells you about why this matters beyond convenience. Aluminum sulfate, the standard chemical used to clarify water in treatment plants across the developed world, has been linked to neurological concerns in multiple studies. Research published in medical journals has explored potential connections between long-term aluminum exposure and cognitive decline. The debate continues in scientific circles, but the concern exists. Moringa seeds contain no aluminum. They contain no synthetic chemicals of any kind. The active proteins are completely biodegradable. They break down naturally after completing their work. You are drinking water clarified by tree seeds, nothing more. Pretty significant difference when you consider what else might be in your tap water, right? The antibacterial properties push this seed from impressive to extraordinary. Researchers at Uppsala University in Sweden published findings showing Moringa seed proteins do not just clump bacteria together, they actively kill them. The mechanism involves disrupting bacterial cell membranes, essentially tearing holes in the protective walls that keep bacteria alive. A study published in Langmuir, one of the most respected journals in surface chemistry, documented this membrane disruption in detail. They observed Moringa proteins fusing with bacterial membranes and causing rapid cell death. Not inhibition, not slowing reproduction, actual destruction of bacterial cells on contact. No commercial flocculant can claim antibacterial action as a secondary benefit. Moringa provides both clarification and disinfection from a single natural source. History connects to the science. Travel back centuries to communities along the Nile River in what is now Sudan and Egypt. Villagers discovered that water stored in containers with crushed moringa seeds stayed cleaner and safer than water stored without them. They called the tree Shajara al-Rawak, the tree for purifying. The knowledge passed from generation to generation, mothers teaching daughters, communities protecting wisdom that kept children alive through dry seasons when only muddy water remained. The same scene played out independently in India, where the tree is called sahijan, or drumstick tree. In Indonesia, the Philippines, across sub-Saharan Africa, wherever moringa grew naturally, communities discovered its water-purifying power. My grandmother always said ancient people were not primitive, just patient enough to learn from nature. Moringa proves her right across 4 continents. Stay with me, because what happened in the modern era should make you genuinely angry. In 2010, researchers calculated that moringa seeds could provide safe drinking water to millions of people in developing nations for a fraction of the cost of conventional treatment. The seeds grow on trees that thrive in poor soil with minimal water. One mature tree produces enough seeds to treat thousands of liters annually. The trees grow fast, reaching productive size within 1 to 2 years. They require no pesticides, no expensive inputs, and no infrastructure beyond basic agriculture. The entire system is renewable, sustainable, and essentially free after initial planting. International development organizations took notice. Pilot programs launched in multiple countries. Success stories emerged from communities that had never had access to clean water. Then the complications began. In the United States, moringa seeds face agricultural import restrictions that make commercial distribution extremely difficult. The USDA regulates them as a potential agricultural pest risk. European Union novel food regulations created additional barriers. Countries with powerful bottled water industries implemented various restrictions on promoting alternative purification methods. If you try to buy moringa seeds in bulk for water treatment purposes in most developed nations, you encounter a maze of regulations, import permits, and agricultural inspections. The seeds are not illegal exactly, they are just complicated enough to discourage widespread adoption. Meanwhile, plastic bottles of filtered water fill every convenience store shelf with zero regulatory friction. Here is what the economics reveal about industry motivation. The global bottled water market generates over $300 billion annually. The water filter industry adds another $35 billion. Combined, these industries depend on one core assumption, that consumers cannot easily purify water themselves. A tree that grows in poor soil requires no inputs and produces seeds that outperform commercial products cannot be allowed to become common knowledge. You cannot patent a seed that has grown wild for millennia. You cannot create recurring revenue from a tree that produces freely once planted. You cannot build a $300 billion industry on something people can grow in their backyard. So the industry did what industries always do when threatened by simplicity. They made access complicated and kept quiet about the alternative. But I need to be completely honest about limitations because credibility matters more than hype. Moringa seeds are not a perfect solution for every water contamination scenario. They do not remove dissolved chemicals like pesticides or heavy metals. They do not neutralize all viruses, though they significantly reduce viral load through particle aggregation. For water contaminated with industrial chemicals, additional treatment stages are necessary. However, for the most common water safety challenges facing billions of people worldwide, turbidity and bacterial contamination, Moringa seeds perform comparably to commercial treatment at a fraction of the cost. For camping, emergencies, and off-grid situations where your biggest threats are mud and bacteria, Moringa covers 90% of real-world needs for under $1. Here is exactly what to do with this knowledge. Purchase Moringa oleifera seeds online or from health food stores. 100 grams costs roughly $5 to $10 and treats approximately 1,000 liters of water. Remove the seed shells and crush the white kernels into a fine powder using any grinding method. For moderately turbid water, use approximately 50 milligrams of seed powder per liter. For heavily contaminated water, increase to 200 milligrams per liter. Add the powder to your water and stir vigorously for 5 minutes. This distributes the proteins evenly and initiates the coagulation process. Stop stirring and let the water sit undisturbed for at least 1 hour. 2 hours is better. You will see flocks forming and sinking throughout this period. Carefully pour or siphon the clear water from the top, leaving the sediment layer undisturbed. For maximum safety, follow with boiling or solar disinfection to eliminate any remaining pathogens. A water researcher in Kenya tested this exact method against a $40 ceramic filter and sent both samples to an independent laboratory. The Moringa seed treatment removed 97% of turbidity and 94% of bacterial contamination. The ceramic filter removed 99% of both. That is a difference of 2 to 5%, for a price difference of over 4,000%. Moringa seeds cost pennies. The filter costs $40 plus shipping to remote areas where electricity to pump water through filters does not exist. For communities choosing between contaminated water and expensive imported technology, Moringa provides a third option the industry never mentions. For permanent use, consider planting Moringa trees if your climate allows. They grow in USDA zones 9 through 11, tolerating heat, drought, and poor soil that kills most other crops. One tree reaches harvest size within 12 months and produces seed pods for decades. A single mature tree yields enough seeds to treat water for an entire family indefinitely. The leaves are edible and extraordinarily nutritious. The roots have medicinal applications documented across multiple cultures. You are not just planting a water purifier, you are planting complete independence from industries that profit from your dependence on their products. So what have we learned? Purifying water with tree seeds is not primitive desperation. It is millennia of proven human knowledge validated by modern laboratory science. It is Sudanese villagers keeping children alive through dry seasons with wisdom passed down through generations. It is Swedish researchers documenting antibacterial mechanisms in peer-reviewed journals. It is Leicester University proving natural seeds match synthetic chemicals without the residues. It is pilot programs across Africa and Asia demonstrating scalable success. It is the United Nations calling Moringa one of the most promising water treatment solutions on the planet. And it is a $300 billion industry maintaining import complications and regulatory barriers to ensure you never learn any of this. This knowledge did not disappear. It was waiting, in villages along the Nile where mothers still teach daughters, in university archives where researchers publish findings that industry ignores, in development reports that never reach mainstream media, in seeds that grow on trees across the tropical world, patient and ready, waiting for someone to remember what humanity knew before corporations taught us to forget. The Egyptians knew, the Sudanese knew, the Indians knew. The researchers at Leicester and Uppsala know. The United Nations knows. The bottled water industry definitely knows. And now, so do you. The Moringa seed asks nothing from you except water and patience. $1, 1 hour, cleaner water than most filters provide, no electricity, no cartridges, no subscriptions, no recurring revenue for anyone except you. If this opens something for you, subscribe and share with everyone who deserves to know what the industry spent decades making complicated. Drop your own water purification methods in the comments below. What techniques have worked for you that nobody talks about? The best survival knowledge comes from people actually using it. Help someone else drink safe water tonight. Humans are remarkably creative when survival demands it, and frankly, that is pretty impressive.